Let's look over some of the more contentious moments from the RFK Senate hearing, one that was pretty heated at different points, setting off a week that should be full of moments like this with Kash Patel and Tulsi Gabbard coming as well, but let's jump right in and see what context or fact checks we can provide. Hey you, yes, you, we now have a Substack website where you can help support the channel. For just $8 a month, you can get daily articles exposing the chaos in Trump's first 100 days, a weekly podcast, and other exclusive perks, all while helping the channel grow and defend democracy. This is something that's not just very important to me, but enables us to get our message out to the most amount of people while also being just a genuine passion that I would love to pursue. So for those who have been wondering how to support the channel, how to help us grow, you can sign up now at the first link in our description. Thank you, and let's get back to the video.
Made almost $5 million from book deals, mostly promoting junk science. In 2021, in a book called The Measles Book, you wrote that parents had been, quote, misled into believing that measles is a deadly disease and that measles vaccines are necessary, safe, and effective. The reality is measles are in fact deadly and highly contagious, something that you should have learned after your lives contributed to the deaths of 83 people, most of them children, in a measles outbreak in Samoa. So my question here is, Mr. Kennedy, is measles deadly, yes or no?
The death rate from measles historically in this country in 1963, the year before the introduction of the vaccine, was 1 in 10,000.
Alone should be entirely disqualifying, questioning the credibility of established vaccines that have led to massive declines in the rates of the diseases they're meant to prevent, like with measles or polio, is absolute quack shit. There's no other way to put it. Like, next he's gonna pull out snake oil and tell us that this is the real cure. Like, measles is absolutely deadly and a highly transmissible disease. Before the vaccine came in 1963, nearly every child got measles. It led to multiple serious other health complications, with kids commonly getting things like encephalitis or swelling of the brain that could end up in them being intellectually disabled, severely intellectually disabled. The number of deaths related to measles is way higher than those directly caused by measles, even though 1 out of 10,000 is still pretty high on the scale of the American population. In developing countries, the death toll directly caused by measles was much higher as well, showing how it was our ability to coordinate with, say, the World Health Organization and pump out vaccines and medicines that saved us from being ravaged. In the years following the vaccine, we completely eliminated measles as a threat, largely thanks to vaccine mandates, which is what Trump is undoing right now with his executive orders, pulling us out of the World Health Organization and all these other things, and what RFK Jr. got a bunch of people to go against in America Samoa, who then ended up dying from a measles outbreak.
That COVID-19 was a genetically engineered bioweapon that targets black and white people, but spared Ashkenazi Jews and Chinese people.
I didn't say it was deliberately targeted. I just quoted an NIH-funded and NIH published study.
Did you say that it targets black and white people but spared Ashkenazi Jews?
I quoted a study, Your Honor. I quoted an NIH study that showed that
I'll take that as a yes.
races
I have to move on, I have to move on. Did you say that Lyme disease is highly likely a materially engineered bioweapon? I made sure I put in the highly likely. Did you say Lyme disease is a highly likely militarily engineered bioweapon?
I probably did say that.
Did you say that?
And that's what the developer of Lyme
I want all
disease
of our
said.
colleagues to hear it, Mr. Kennedy. I want them to hear it. You said yes. Did you say that exposure to pesticides causes children to become transgender?
No, I never said that.
The study he's saying to have quoted at the beginning there does not exist. The closest I could find was studies saying that black people had lower rates of vaccination, thus were infected at higher rates, but nothing about Jews being ignored. That sounds like anti-Semitism to me. And also, he's literally saying that diseases are being bioengineered in a lab as weapons to use against people. This is literally tinfoil hat concepts. You hear this a lot with the COVID nuts, however, about a Wuhan lab, which is one I've never understood why they tout so confidently. Like now they'll come out as if like we were all wrong, as if it's been proven or something, when most agencies in the intelligence community still think it has natural origins. 4, to be specific, and the National Intelligence Council. Only one even has moderate confidence in the lab theory, and most researchers outside of just like the federal intelligence community also believe it was created in nature, with studies also coming out just last year, narrowing it down to 10 possible species and a specific market that started the outbreak. So it's still unknown, I guess, but it leans heavily towards being natural origins, and there's no concrete evidence or anything that you could say this is the proof of it being in a lab. It's literally just quack shit conspiracy theory. But buying into this is then how you go down that rabbit hole of, well, okay, maybe Lyme disease is fake too, because science is hard, I know, and understanding bacteria and things is really difficult. And he has indeed said multiple times that toxins in water turns kids gay and trans. A total quack job through and through.
When was it that you decided to sell out the values you've had your whole life in order to be given power by President Trump?
Senator, I agree with President Trump that every abortion is a tragedy, that we can't be a moral authority in this country.
Right, so, but that isn't what you said back in New Hampshire in 2023. My question is exactly when did you decide to sell out your life's work and values to get this position?
Senator, I agree with President Trump that every abortion is a tragedy.
So what you're telling us, just to be clear, because my time is limited, is that regardless of what you believe, regardless of what values you have, if President Trump tells you to do something, you're going to do it. You said just now the discussion about mifepristone. Oh, he's asked me to study the safety of it. Here are the safety studies that tell us mifepristone is safe and effective. And I ask, Mr. Chair, that these about 40 studies be admitted to the record by unanimous consent.
Without objection.
This lady had absolutely my favorite takedown, so I had to save it for the end. This entire part was brutal, so find it on your own and watch it if you want to. It's because it's so to the point. RFK has given up any value that he pretended to have when he thought his career path would be as a Democrat, to switch it to now seamlessly fit under Trump's MAGA worldview, where I absolutely bet he runs as a Republican nominee in 2028 because he's just a grifter. Like, it's pretty clear. And Republicans, the Republican Party is the home of the grifter. Like, look at Trump, look at him, right? I also, Tulsi Gabbard, I mean, the list goes on. The Republicans are just grifters. And they're in it for the money. I also love that she points out the slimy things that people like RFK and Trump do, where they pretend they just want to follow the science. They're just questioning these things because they want to follow the science and let science decide. But it's things like on mifepristone that the science has already decided. You're just trying to interject your bigotry as if that disproves the science because the science is inconvenient to your personal feelings. What they want to do is get in and validate these studies because, again, uncomfortable to their personal beliefs, and then put out something completely non-credible or terribly sourced as if it's fact. And we know RFK will do this. This isn't even a far stretch because he's been caught doing it before about autism and vaccines and the connections, where he used to cite a list of 100 studies that prove this connection that he would be claiming, only for the list to end up being thoroughly debunked. Multiple studies don't even say there's a connection. Some have been retracted. Others have came out and said, hey, like, my study actually disproves that there's a connection here. And others were found to have taken money to portray a specific result. But yet this is what RFK is willing to tout to the public as credible evidence. So what's going to stop him from doing that as HHS secretary, but this time with a lot more authority, a lot more effects that this could cause from it?